In today's episode, the 1998 Ford of Europe Estates or wagons. Hello and welcome to Quartzlight, your car brochure channel, the channel that looks at car brochures from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond those dates as well. Very niche subject here on Quartzlight, but if you want to watch a bit of the episode, consider subscribing. Subscribing is all completely free and we've got over 600 episodes now. Anyway, back to today's episodes. We've been looking at this 1998 Ford all-range brochure. Well, today is looking at the estates or wagon versions of 3 of the very well-known models. So let's throw that on the board now. So yes, the Ford Estates, and yes, this brochure has just set them out separately. So we've got the Mondeo, the Escort and the Scorpio in estate form. We'll start with the text, only going to be a short episode, there's not a lot of information in this one. Then we'll come back to these lovely images. So Ford's estate range, what other people in other countries called wagons, of course. The Escort, Mondeo and Scorpio give you far more than extra load carrying capacity. They also deliver generous levels of performance, style and comfort with the motoring agility of their saloon and hatchback counterparts. And then it gives you sort of the standard features for these models. So obviously it's all about load space, so that's what it's looking at. So the Escort with 1.425 cubic meter load space, the Mondeo with 1.65 cubic meter load space, the Scorpio with 1.6 cubic meter load space. So I think that's the first surprising thing, that the Scorpio's got less space than the Mondeo. Does that make sense? I know it's pretty much the same number, but I was surprised to see that. And then it gives you what the standard features are. So first of all, it tells you what you don't get. So power assisted steering is standard on the Estates, but not the Escorts. 1.3 at a time when, of course, power steering was becoming more of something you really kind of like expected. Moving on to more standard features of a safeguard engine immobilizer, tonneau cover, folding rear seat and 60-40 split back, and roof rails for the Gear X, only on Mondeo. And in small print we've got 2-seat mode, laden to roof. Oh, I guess that's what the dimensions are. They've done it so it's in 2-seat mode, so the rear seats folded down is where they're getting that figure from. Anyway, the models we're going to look at, first of all, the Mondeo, it has an ST24 estate. Now that would have been a nice model to have as an estate, an ST24 estate. Got to be quite a rare model today. Apparently it's got optional features at extra cost, which this brochure never tells you what those optional features are. And then we're also going to be looking at an Escort SI. Again, apparently it's got optional features on it. I always liked the SI at this time because it was, a bit of a bargain basement Escort. It was certainly not one of the top models, but I always thought they looked good. And then the Scorpio Gear, which also sounds like a top model, but actually the Gear at this time was the base model for the Scorpio range. But let's look at the Mondeo first. I think that's probably my favourite. So I think firstly the brochure very cleverly picks the models that look the best, I think, because the ST24 Mondeo Estate does look fantastic. I always did like this generation of Mondeo much more than the first generation. The part that I didn't like too much was actually this oval section. I always thought that looked a little bit off. But actually in this particular model, with it being colour coordinated, it doesn't look as bad as when it's just in your face and bright. So that isn't too bad. I liked the front lights as well. Looks like we've got some tiny little spots. I presume they're spotlights rather than fog lights, but tiny little lights, but they do look good. Also a nice looking, almost like a body kit style on the ST24 with rather nice alloys. So, side skirts all round. V6 badge on the side, and we see colour coordinating everything, including the rubbing strips, door mirrors, and of course, this being one of the highest specs Mondeo Estates, we get these roof rails on as well, which does look good on an estate. So certainly that would have been my pick, but there are other estates. We do get the Escort Estate, a very practical load carrier for its size. SI always looked good, I always thought, as well, for the Escort. Like I say, it wasn't a particularly high spec model or high up the range, but I always thought it looked good. They also used the SI to promote the actual Escort range, showing a black version, so you can have this as well. Like I say, Escorts at this time not very popular at all. Previous generation I just thought was absolutely horrendous. I thought this was a bit of improvement with the design, but of course Escort by this stage has lost its way. We're really waiting for the Focus to come out, and also it's showing the Scorpio Estate as well. And the first thought when looking at this image, what a good looking car. You know, what we would call in Europe a Mark II Scorpio, or the first time we've used the Scorpio badge here in the UK. Controversial looking car, wasn't it, as a saloon, but here as an estate with the old Granada rear end, that looks a really good looking car. We can't really see the front end, but it actually looks good from this angle, even the front end. Sadly the front end wasn't quite as attractive, but from this angle I would actually say that's a good looking car. Certainly if I had the money to have bought a Scorpio, or you know, my company was going to give me a Scorpio, I would have kind of like insisted on having the Estate. Good looking car actually, and on the second hand market they really bombed, so you could pick some cheap versions up second hand. I wonder how many Scorpio Estates are left. This is a Ghia spec. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? Oh, a Ghia Scorpio, but actually it was the low end of the range here. But like I said, a good looking car. Rather sadly, it's showing the Scorpio Estate this time from its side, and it doesn't look quite as good, does it? That front end is starting to show through there, but like I say, if you hide that front end, it's just your traditional Granada, isn't it? So yeah, definitely would have picked the Estate. And that's all there is for the Estates, actually. That's all it's going to show you here. Next week we're going to look at the people carrier, so the Galaxy. So there you go, that is your Ford brochure from the UK showing the Estates at 1998. And like I said, Galaxy next week. If you had any of them Estates, please do jot it in the comments. Always lovely to hear your stories, and also which of the three you would have picked, and would you have gone for an Estate rather than the equivalent saloon. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying, please do consider subscribing if you've not done it already. Completely free to be a subscriber of Quarterlight. Will never cost you a penny. Really, I don't get anything from you being a subscriber, but it's really nice to see those figures going up. So please consider that, and from your end, keeps you in touch with the channel. And if you hit the little bell button, it does tell you when a new episode is going to arrive. But we do at least 3 episodes a week: Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Fridays are actually Ford Fridays, so that's why this is happening now. So 1 Ford episode every week. Say Ford Friday, you might not watch on a Friday, but that's when it's actually first goes live. The other thing you can actually become a member now for a very small fee. I think there's 4 different levels, from very cheap to, thank you so much level. So have a look at that. Whatever level you choose, it's very much appreciated. We'll be completely open with you. You don't get a lot from being a membership other than supporting the channel, and a big thank you from me. But I do also produce an extra episode each week, maybe 5 or 6 minutes long episode, really just telling you where we're up to and what we're going to look at next. So thank you to those who have become a member, because it really keeps us going, as are our regular viewers who watch every single time. Very much appreciated. That really is just as helpful if you're watching a lot of episodes, so thank you so much for that as well. In other words, yes, it's only quite a short episode this week, but have a look in our back catalogue. Over 600 episodes. I'm sure there'll be something that will please you, and a model of car that you'll be interested in. So lots and lots of information, all on the topic of brochures. This particular channel is always going to be a brochure channel, actually. That's what we're going to try and specifically look at. In the past, we've kind of like looked at cars as well, but I'm going to really keep this channel just for brochures only. And in the future, I'm going to open a second channel, but nothing firm on that or when dates that might start, but I will let you know. That may or may not be something you're interested in as somebody who's purely interested in brochures. But like I said, I'm going to keep this one as purely a brochure channel. But yeah, I'm waffling a bit at the end, but overall I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's watching this episode to the end. Really very much appreciated. Please do take care. And yes, I'm waffling so much I'm forgetting what I should be saying is, over here I'm going to put a box there for the episodes in this series. So if you're watching when this just goes live, that will be every episode up to the Ford Estates. But eventually in this box, if you're watching in, I don't know, a couple of months time, you'll be able to watch every single episode in this 1998 brochure series for the Ford range of 1998. And it's an interesting and very huge range because it also includes the commercial vehicles, which we've not actually quite got to yet. Up here, YouTube usually puts a random brochure in there. But yes, thank you so much for watching today. Please do take care. We'll see you again very soon. All the best and goodbye.